Howdy gang, and welcome to another video. Today, we discuss an interesting one. Politics. I know. Pacer, your videos are usually about gaming. Well, sometimes I cover politics. And other things. So, let's get into it. This is going to be interesting. Alright, this is going to be interesting. Today we discuss how Marjorie Taylor Greene is threatening to oust the Speaker. And no, this is not the first time in the Republicans' control of the House this time around that they have ousted a Speaker. They did that to Kevin McCarthy before. Now, why would you keep ousting your Speaker? Do you realize you guys have a paper-thin majority? So, you're sitting here ousting speakers. You have a paper-thin majority as it is. So, you keep ousting speakers, eventually we're going to have Republicans in control of the House with a Democrat speaker. Because people are going to get fed up and end up voting in someone like Hakeem Jeffries to be speaker. Because the Republican speakers keep getting ousted. Guys, why do you keep doing that? But let's get into this. Firebrand Republican Marjorie Taylor Greene of Georgia on Tuesday picked up where she left off before the House's Easter recess with a full-throated attack on Speaker Mike Johnson. For reference, this would be Marjorie Taylor Greene, and this over here would be Mike Johnson. Now, let's get into this. In late March, Greene filed a motion to vacate, which would topple Johnson from the post he assumed in October, after House Republicans removed former Speaker Kevin McCarthy. Like I was saying, not the first time they've done this. On Tuesday, she sent a bristling memo to fellow Republicans outlining her reasons why Johnson has failed GOP. She said, quote, "I will not tolerate our elected Republican Speaker, Mike Johnson, serving the Democrats." Now, what do you mean by serving the Democrats and the Biden administration and helping them achieve their policies that are destroying our country, which would explain the serving the Democrats line. He is throwing our razor-thin majority, as I mentioned before, they have a paper-thin majority, into chaos by not serving his own GOP conference that elected him, she continued. With so much at stake for our future and the future of our children, I will not tolerate this type of Republican quote-unquote leadership, she said. This has been a complete and total surrender to, if not complete and total lockstep with the Democrats' agenda, that has angered our Republican base so much and given them very little reason to vote for a Republican House majority. Greene has not said when she plans to act on her motion, but the memo appeared to be a warning of what would happen if Johnson brings a bill to aid Ukraine to the floor, as he said he would. Now, I have no idea why on earth she thinks he's serving the Democrats, but let's get into it. Alright, here's my take. I don't understand why these people can't just get along. I mean, you're sitting there arguing and arguing and arguing. You're serving the Democrats, you're doing this, you're doing that. Well, maybe he has messed up a lot. Okay? Yeah, sure. Maybe he's helped out Biden way too much. But maybe ousting him is a bad idea, because you guys already ousted one speaker. You really want to oust another one and risk someone like Hakeem Jeffries, a more progressive, might I add, Democrat, being speaker? while you guys control the House? You want to risk that by ousting this guy instead of maybe finding some way to, I don't know, is there a way to censor him? Like, or something, lecture him? What do they call it when they, like, what is censoring a congressman? Is that like, I think it's like, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I think censoring a congressman is like, if you will, sort of a, stern warning, like, stop what you're doing. If I recall correctly, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I believe censoring a congressman is, a stern warning of sorts. So why not do something that would allow for more of a, I don't know, stern warning, like stop helping Democrats so much and go for a more GOP style agenda instead of supporting the Democrats' agenda so much? I mean, wouldn't that make sense? Do whatever you can to sort of give the guy a warning, like, hey, you need to stop supporting Democrats so much. You need to support our policies more, or else you might, lose your job. Right? Trying to oust him is not going to do us any good. What you need to do is simply let him know that you guys are not happy. And that in the future, this could lead to him being ousted. But trying to oust him now is a bad idea. Because you're risking a Democrat like Hakeem Jeffries, more progressive, or just a Democrat in general being Speaker. You don't want to risk a Democrat being Speaker while the Republicans control the House. That is a dumb idea. Very dumb idea. So what you need to do is be a bit more smart about this and maybe just give the guy a warning and talk to him and be like, hey, you need to stop. You need to support Republicans more instead of working with Democrats so much. If he is indeed working with Democrats a lot. Which, if he is, I mean, maybe he's giving them too much of what they want. Maybe you could work together without giving too much to the Democrats, right? You could work together and maybe, go 50-50 on some things. Because you got to give a little to get a little, right? You've all heard that saying. So maybe, because you can't just make everything have, everything of what one side wants and nothing of what the other side wants. That would be absolute chaos. So you need to find good compromise, right? The problem is, if you compromise too much, it causes massive problems and you end up supporting the other side's agenda instead of your own. So you need to find a way to support the Republican agenda more primarily, while also maybe compromising a smidge on some things. But don't compromise too much, because you compromise too much, it causes problems. Now I know what you're thinking. Pacer, you're conservative. Why are you sitting here sounding like a Democrat? Well, I'm not trying to sound like a Democrat. I am trying to sound more, if you will, centered. I'm trying to sound more fair to both sides here. Like, I mean, I'm a conservative, so my brain's like, dude, just support the Republican agenda. But my brain's also like, well, you can't go all gung-ho with everything conservative and, not give something to the other side, right? You gotta give a little to get a little, so you gotta be fair, right? But how do you do that without compromising your values? How do you do that without compromising, your agenda? That is a very precarious line you have to walk, if you will, and it's not easy, I would imagine. So you got to be very careful, right? I mean, people sitting here complaining he's giving Democrats too much. Well, maybe. But maybe what he should do is cut down on what he's giving them massively. And for a little bit, maybe focus more on conservative stuff. I don't know, that's just me. I'm thinking he should probably just focus on conservative stuff for a bit, maybe calm these people down, and find some way to, if you will, balance what he does, right? Be more fair, if you will. Not give Democrats too much, but not go too gung-ho, on the conservative side. Don't go too crazy. Be more centered, right? While still being conservative. But I don't understand why people would want to oust the guy. I mean, yeah, maybe you want to get someone in there who's more conservative, and we probably should. But maybe before you oust this guy, give him a chance, to fix it. Warn him, if you don't fix this, we're going to oust you, right? And then, if in, a few months' time he still hasn't done, what you want in any degree, he hasn't gone a bit more conservative, which he probably should, then maybe you oust him. But you have to be careful when you do, because with this many Republican speakers ousted during the Republicans' tenure in control of the House, there is a greater risk, in my opinion, of a Democrat winding up Speaker, and that is not what we want, because you know darn well the Democrats are not going to compromise. Once they get a Speaker in there, they're just going to do what they want and go gung-ho with all this leftist stuff. Okay? They are not going to compromise. Compromise is something conservatives are more accustomed to, right? Democrats are not as into compromising in the modern era. Modern era Democrats don't really compromise too much, in my opinion. So what I'm thinking is, if you wind up goofing up and having a Democrat speaker, that's going to cause problems because you have a conservative majority with a Democrat speaker, because the conservatives can't stop complaining you're not conservative enough and ousting the speaker, which results in eventually a Democrat speaker who won't compromise one bit and will just go gung-ho with all the Democrat stuff, which is not what we want. We want more conservative policies, but we don't want a speaker in a conservative majority who's, too willing to compromise. You have to be more conservative, but you need to be very careful with how conservative you're being so you can actually be more centered and get the Democrats to vote for your stuff. See, it's not easy, and I feel like they need to give him a chance to do that before they just straight up oust him. Personally, I don't understand why these people can't just think before they start ousting people because they do a couple of things they don't like. They've got to think very carefully, or they're going to wind up having a speaker of the opposing party while they are in control of the House, which would be a colossal failure of leadership on the Republicans' part, ousting so many Republican speakers that you wind up with a Democrat as speaker while the Republicans control the House. That would be very embarrassing for the Republican Party, and they need to think before they do this kind of thing. Because, come on. Yeah, sure, the speaker messes up a bit, but maybe try and, think before you do these kind of things. Maybe instead of ousting everyone, a couple of months into their tenure because they do a couple of things you don't like, maybe you could find some way to severely, warn them, sternly warn them, and just do that? I know I probably already said this earlier, but hey, I'm just reinforcing that. You need to sternly warn them instead of ousting them 2 seconds after they do something that would not be very smart in, political sense. Right? You do something not very smart politically, and you're ousted 2 seconds later because, your conference does not appreciate whatever dumb thing you did. You just gotta, be careful, right? Don't do dumb things. I guess this is the lesson learned here. Don't do dumb things if you're a Speaker of the House, because that is an issue, right? Because your conference could easily oust you because you don't follow their, toe their line enough. It feels like that's why they're doing that, because he's not towing the conservative line enough. I mean, come on. Why can't you just find someone who's conservative? Yes, but is also, not going to go too crazy, right? Not going to go too far right, and is more of a wise speaker. Someone who's conservative, but smart enough to give the Democrats little crumbs so that they vote for conservative stuff. You guys, I don't know. Is it bad taste in speakers? I don't know. I'm trying to figure out why they keep ousting these people. I don't get it. But let me know your opinion down in the comments. I'd love to hear them. Because I'm a bit confused and I'm not sure why they keep doing this. Alright, gang. Let me know what you thought of all of this down in the comments below. And while you're at it, memorize my Minecraft server address. Because those of you that might not be aware, I have a Minecraft server on mcprohosting.com. It's Reimagined MC and server address in the description. So, while you're hitting me up on your opinions on this political issue, hit up Reimagined MC on mcprohosting.com and we're going to have some fun on MC Pro Hosting. Trust me, Reimagined MC and I will await you. This is going to be fun. And while you're at it, be sure to subscribe because it really helps me out. And I will see you in the next one.